Hi, my name is Jenny.
And my name's Eury.
It's 2022, the year of feeling at home, and it's the year of the bunny rabbit, at least for us here on the Conscious Cuppa podcast.
Hello, Brew Crew. Welcome back. It's season 3 and a bonus episode. And we've got a question for you.
The question. What
has walking to the park, taking a trip to the beach, and flying to the moon got to do with bunny rabbits?
Bunny rabbits, those furry friends, are here to help us discover how the universe supports us from A to Z, from having a thought to having a thing, from wanting it to being it, from desire to fulfillment. Well, we've had to do a stop the podcast with with these bunny rabbits, because I feel like each week we say, you know, we've got a question for you. What is this, that, and this, and that, and that, and this got to do with bunny rabbits? And we never really answer that in the podcast anymore, because we kind of just assume that everybody's got it now.
Yeah.
They go back to number 1, episode 1 of season 3, or they click the link that tells them, like a 5-minute video that somebody else has made about bunny rabbits. What's it got to do with Fibonacci? Yeah. And I thought, it's not really good enough. I think we should do a bonus episode. Also gives us a chance to have a bit of a breather and just talk a bit more about the bunny rabbits, because they are important to us, yet we're not really making a connection for our listeners.
So Jenny, now it's time to reveal what these bunny rabbits has got to do with anything. Pull that bunny rabbit out of the hat.
But before we do that, let's have some tea.
Are you going to ask me the question?
What's in our cups today?
So I've made a little cocktail in our tea today.
Yeah.
So we have passion fruit, fresh passion fruit.
Lovely.
Scooped out of its shell.
Yep.
And we've got some slices of kiwi.
Ooh.
So inside the tea.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never had kiwi in my tea before.
Nor have I.
So we shall see.
We shall see about the kiwi. We've got some strawberries on the side for good measure.
Yeah, they are fat. Yeah. They are really fat. You need to take a picture of those. They're on that lovely blue background. It's very tarty. I really like it. I have made the passion fruit with a tea bag.
Yeah.
That I don't leave in for too long. And it's really good with the half of the scooped out passion fruit. So I don't usually just have the passion fruit. And now you've added kiwi.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I like it.
Yeah?
I think it's very, very refreshing and very summery.
I can imagine this cold because we've got it hot.
Yeah.
That would be really nice if it was left to stand for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might try that.
We hope you've got something wonderful in your cup, your glass, your flask.
Cheers. Jenny, back to these bunny rabbits and pulling them out of your hat.
Pulling them out of my hat. So these bunny rabbits are involved with the story of Fibonacci. Fibonacci was a 12th century mathematician who we briefly talked about in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
He travelled through Africa to discover a new way of looking at numbers, a new way of working with numbers.
Yeah.
So at that time, the Europeans were using Roman numerals for calculations, which is, you know, X is 10 and L is 50 and C is 100 and M is 1,000 and V is 5, and yeah, you get the idea. It's a bit complicated when it comes to doing 5 times 5, which is, go on.
V times V.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
But the North Africans had a easier way of doing that.
Yeah.
In terms of using things like fractals. Don't get scared using things like fractals.
No, they're beautiful. Fractals are beautiful.
Yeah, so a lot of African tribes had a way of calculating that involved fractal. So there were other ways basically to calculate. In other words, there were plenty of ways to calculate.
Yes.
The numbers that we use today, 0 to 9, basically came in to Europe in that 12th century.
Mm-hmm.
And Fibonacci is he's attributed with being a huge influence. He wrote a mathematical book to help introduce this new numbering system that we still use today. So one of the other things that he was doing was looking at these various patterns. It's kind of like if you can repeat the thing, you can see how things are working. It can help you to apply that information somewhere else.
And that's why I love maths, actually, because a while before I met you, Jenny, I was still saying that old script of, I don't like maths, I'm not good at maths. And someone said, well, you like art and you like patterns because you do it all the time. That's maths.
Yeah.
And then I met you and you showed me another reason to like maths. Because if you can cross the road, you can like maths. So I love patterns and maths.
Yes, so patterns was one of his loves. I guess if you're a mathematician, you love patterns.
Yeah.
Because then you can apply that pattern elsewhere. So he looked at the breeding habits of rabbits.
Oh, yeah.
How he came to do this, I don't know. Was he looking after rabbits? I don't know.
He was on a farm.
Let's assume he was in a village and somebody had lots of rabbits. Or somebody had 2 rabbits.
He was down the pub, wasn't he, talking to a farmer?
He might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's noticing a certain pattern of the breeding habits of rabbits. He's noticing that when you start with 2, like a pair of rabbits, and that number 0, 1, that's at the beginning of the Fibonacci sequence, that 1 is referring to a pair of rabbits in his experiment. That for the first month they don't breed, but rabbits start to breed quite quickly. After 2 months, or let's say 2 periods of time, there's still only 1 pair of rabbits, which is why you get 0, 1, and then 1. But in the 3rd period of time, if I said that correctly, I don't know, but in the 3rd period of time, or in the 3rd square that we get to, now that pair of rabbits has produced another pair of rabbits, which is why you get number 2. And in the 4th period of time, the 4th quarter, you've got another pair of rabbits from the original pair, but not from, it gets complicated, but not from the ones who had just been born.
Okay, enough of this maths business.
Yeah.
Tell me what this has got to do with imagination, Jenny.
Okay. So what he was discovering as he's going through and counting these rabbits over 12 months is that there is a definite pattern of each pair producing more rabbits. I'm guessing he's looking at this and saying, well, I can predict what's going to happen next.
Yes.
That there's going to be 13, and then there's going to be 21, and then there's going to be 34. And each time it's just adding in a certain pattern.
Yeah. So this is where we're beginning to get the path, the journey.
So when we map it out in the style of this spiral, you can see that same spiral reflected in other parts of nature.
Yes.
But you'd have to be literally drawing it out in a circle. So I don't know how we got to the circle of the spiral, but there were certainly numbers involved that showed a certain growth pattern. And that growth pattern can be seen, as you always say each week, in the winding shell, in the beauty of the ocean wave, the majesty of the cosmos.
Yeah.
I'm reading your script for you now.
Yeah, thank you.
So these things are, the way that spiral unfolds is seen not just in rabbits, not just in the ocean, not just in the winding shell. It's seen in so many different ways, still in just numbers. In, for example, the number of petals that flowers have.
I was just thinking of that. I think you read my mind. I was thinking of, seeing as we're in full summer now, I was thinking of the sunflower and the internal of that sunflower, where all the sunflower seeds live, and the spiral in that.
Yeah.
And then I went on to think about this cauliflower that I was introduced to at the farmer's market that you also fell in love with.
Yes.
That's got this beautiful spiral.
The fractals.
Yeah, we're surrounded by it. And then also I was thinking about the man, the painting of the man, and how you can measure, you taught, especially in Arabic culture, to measure your body with other parts of your body.
That's
and
right.
So Michelangelo drew the body like that.
Da Vinci, I think it was.
Oh, okay. Yes, you're right. It's Da Vinci. Drew the body like that. And so now you've got art reoccurring in this idea. And that's where we talk about this principle being part of the human body.
Yeah, it makes sense that it's part of everything. Like there are other patterns that are also part of everything. And we as human beings include everything in us. We've got animal, mineral, vegetable, all of it is here.
In various parts of us.
In various degrees, and at various times of the day. But coming back to this question we keep asking at the beginning, what does going to the swimming pool, going to the moon, going down the shops, going to a wedding have to do with bunny rabbits?
Yeah.
So it's coming back to this pattern of unfolding from the beginning of the idea, ooh, I'd like to go for a swim, to actually finding yourself in that water has a definite pattern that is produced from the thought to the thing. And this is what we are doing on the podcast, is explaining what that pattern is step by step, the thought process that happens that ends in almost like a coagulation of matter that you are compelled to, by holding your attention on the thought, compelled to now go and experience.
Yes.
So
that's how the law of attraction works.
That's how the law of attraction works.
This is you imagining this wonderful idea, this gift of an idea, with your heart and your mind saying yes to it.
Yes.
And then by being true and faithful to that, using your imagination, using the feeling, touching it, feeling it, it comes into being, and you get that great feeling of elation in your imagination, and then you get a reelation when it's objectified and you get it on this level.
So we are at the precipice in terms of our episodes. We've got from 0, 1, and we've got to number 3 before there's our first gap.
Yeah.
And the next number is going to be number 5. So it was a good place to kind of stop and just count our rabbits before they hatch, just to recap and understand, okay, these bunny rabbits we keep talking about at the beginning of each episode, what do they actually mean in terms of where am I now? So when we get to 3 bunny rabbits, for example, that means you're on your journey.
Yes.
If you're at 2 bunny rabbits, it means you're still in the house thinking, should I stay or should I go? If you're at number 1, you're entertaining that rabbit.
All right, love. Would you like a cup of tea?
Or a carrot.
Yeah.
And if you're at 0, 1, the rabbit has just arrived as a thought in your head.
So it's saying, what's up, Doug?
It's saying, what's up, Doug? That's the one. So basically, we just wanted to make sure that all this talk of rabbits was
clear.
Well, it was clear,
but
we hadn't actually made it that clear.
Yeah.
So now I hope it's clear. There are links in the description for the first episode where we go over the whole of the path from 0 to 13. And there's also a link for somebody else's really creative introduction to Fibonacci and the rabbits and the spiral and the flower petals. And people do use the Fibonacci sequence, this pattern, to predict numbers, figures, prices on the stock exchange as well. It's everywhere.
So if you've got any pictures of bunny rabbits, do send them in.
Do send them in, yes, with your beautiful mug shots.
Yeah.
And any questions, any suggestions, where should they send those to?
So send them to consciouscuppa@gmail.com.
How do you spell that?
CONSCIOUSCUPPA.
Or, if you're a Twitter and you like to tweet, we are at Conscious Cuppa. Shall we do a Neville Nugget before we go?
Let's do a Neville Nugget.
Okie doke. It's your turn, I think. Pick one of these numbers that's not highlighted.
13. That's my lucky number.
13. Know yourself to be a life-giving spirit, moving through heavenly states, giving life and telling the eternal story.
Wow.
That's quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's big. Know yourself to be a life-giving spirit, moving through heavenly states, giving life and telling the eternal story. It's quite beautiful.
Love that.
So, we'll be back next week with number 5. Number 5 is all about touch, engage, dreaming. We're going through the window. Which shape window?
I'm definitely going to pick a round window.
I'm going to pick a heart-shaped window.
Oh, I like that.
See you next time.
See you next time.